The steady rhythm of rain against the police cruiser's windshield did nothing to calm Detective Mira Santos as she pulled up to the gleaming office tower. Something felt off about this call. Domestic disputes rarely reached her desk, especially ones involving prominent business executives. But when the mayor's office applies pressure, priorities shift. "We're here for Elliot Blackwood," she told the security guard, flashing her badge. "Which floor?" The guard's eyes widened slightly. 23rd. Blackwood Partners. "But Detective, thanks." She cut him off, stepping into the elevator with Officer Chen behind her. When the elevator doors opened to Blackwood Partners, the bustle of a normal workday greeted them. Mira scanned the open office floor, spotting a glass-walled conference room where a tall man in a tailored navy suit stood at the head of a table, mid-presentation. "Mr. Blackwood?" she called, interrupting the meeting as heads turned. The man looked up, confusion evident as he registered the police uniforms. "Yes? Can I help you?" "Detective Santos, DPD. We need to speak with you privately, sir." Elliot's face remained professionally neutral, but she caught the subtle flex of his jaw. "Of course. If you'll excuse me," he addressed the room, setting down his presentation remote. Once inside his private office, Mira placed a document on his polished desk. "Mr. Blackwood, I'm serving you with a temporary restraining order filed by your wife, Vivian Blackwood. You are to remain at least 500 feet from your residence and from Mrs. Blackwood at all times." The color drained from his face. "What? This is absurd. Vivian is 7 months pregnant with our child." "She's also changed the locks, sir. She's requested police escort for you to collect essential belongings during a scheduled time tomorrow." Elliot gripped the edge of his desk. "Detective, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. I need to call my wife." "I strongly advise against that, Mr. Blackwood. It would violate the order." Mira studied him carefully. "Do you understand the terms as I've explained them?" Elliot's phone buzzed on his desk. A text message. Mira caught the name on the screen. Celeste. Elliot quickly flipped the phone over, but something in his expression shifted. A flash of guilt before the mask of confusion returned. "Mr. Blackwood, do you understand the terms?" Mira repeated. "Yes," he whispered, looking suddenly lost in his corner office overlooking the city. "But this is a mistake. Vivian and we're expecting a baby girl in 2 months." Officer Chen, standing by the door, shifted uncomfortably. "You'll have an opportunity to address this in court," Mira said. "In the meantime, I suggest you find alternative accommodations." As they left, Mira glanced back to see Elliot Blackwood, his face ashen, staring at the restraining order with trembling hands. Hours earlier, Vivian Blackwood awoke to an empty bed for the 3rd time that week. The digital clock on the nightstand glowed 3:17 a.m., and she instinctively reached for her husband's side. Cold sheets greeted her touch. Elliot's excuse about the Singapore merger requiring late nights had worn thin, especially since her colleague Marcus had mentioned in passing that the deal had closed days ago. She struggled to sit up, her 7-month pregnant belly making the movement awkward. After catching her breath, she reached for her phone on the nightstand. 3 missed calls from her sister, Alyssa, all within the past hour. That wasn't normal. Before she could return the calls, a text came through. "Viv, I'm so sorry. Call me when you get this. I need to tell you something about Elliot." A cold dread washed over her. She knew. Deep down, she had known for months, even as she'd tried to rationalize Elliot's increasing absences, the late-night showers, the subtle scent of unfamiliar perfume. With trembling fingers, she called her sister back. "Viv," Alyssa answered immediately, her voice quiet and strained. "I didn't want to wake you. What is it?" "What about Elliot?" A pause. "I was at the Willow tonight meeting clients." "I saw him, Viv. With someone." The room seemed to tilt. Maybe it was work-related. Even to her own ears, the defense sounded hollow. "I took pictures." "I'm sorry, but I thought you needed to know. He was..." They were clearly intimate. Kissing. "I'll send them if you want, but..." "Send them," Vivian said, surprised at how steady her voice sounded. Moments later, her phone pinged. The images were unmistakable. Elliot and a willowy brunette at a secluded corner table, his hand on hers, leaning in for a kiss. Leaving together, his hand possessively at the small of her back. The willow was their place, where Elliot had proposed 3 years ago, where they had celebrated finding out about the pregnancy. Vivian felt the baby kick, a sharp reminder of everything at stake. "Who is she?" Vivian asked, surprised at the calm in her voice. "I don't know. Beautiful, young, I'm so sorry. Viv." Hanging up, Vivian sat in the dark bedroom she'd meticulously designed with Elliot when they'd bought the house last year. The nursery across the hall was painted pale yellow, waiting for their daughter. The crib Elliot had insisted on assembling himself stood ready. She placed a hand on her stomach, feeling another kick. "It's okay," she whispered. "We're going to be okay." With unexpected clarity, Vivian knew what she needed to do. Celeste Moore stretched luxuriously in the king-sized hotel bed, watching Elliot button his shirt. Dawn was still hours away. "You could stay," she suggested, letting the sheet slip artfully. At 29, she knew her power over him. "You know I can't," Elliot replied, checking his watch. A 40th birthday gift from Vivian last year. "The pregnant wife awaits," Celeste said, a slight edge in her voice. "How much longer are we going to do this, Elliot? Sneaking around hotel rooms?" He sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "It's complicated. It's always complicated when men say it is." She rose, wrapping the sheet around herself. "You promised things would change after the merger. That was 3 weeks ago. And they will," he assured her, cupping her face. "I just need time to figure out the right way to handle this. Vivian is fragile right now." Celeste's eyes hardened. "And I'm not? I've given you 6 months of my life based on promises, Elliot." "I know. And I meant every word." He kissed her deeply. "I'll talk to her after the baby comes." "It's the decent thing to do." Celeste pulled back. "The decent thing would have been not starting an affair while your wife was pregnant." Elliot flinched. "That's not fair." "None of this is fair," she said quietly. "To her or to me?" He checked his watch again. "I need to go. I'll call you tomorrow." After he left, Celeste stared at the closed door, then reached for her phone. She pulled up her text conversation with Elliot, scrolling through months of messages, plans, promises. With grim determination, she began taking screenshots. At home, Elliot quietly entered through the garage, easing the door shut behind him. The house was dark and silent. He crept upstairs, careful to avoid the creaky step, and headed straight to the guest bathroom rather than risk waking Vivian. Under the shower's hot spray, he tried to wash away the guilt along with Celeste's perfume. This situation was spiraling. He'd never intended things with Celeste to go this far. What had started as innocent flirtation at a work event had evolved into something that now threatened everything he'd built. Vivian deserved better. He knew that. He'd always known that, even as he'd continued seeing Celeste. His wife was brilliant, kind, and carrying their child. Yet something about Celeste, her youth, her ambition, the uncomplicated way she made him feel, had drawn him in like a moth to flame. After dressing in fresh clothes, he slipped into bed beside his sleeping wife. In the dim light filtering through the curtains, he studied her profile. 7 years together, and he still found her beautiful, perhaps more so now carrying their child. The weight of his betrayal settled heavily on his chest. After the baby was born, he would end things with Celeste, recommit to his marriage. This was just temporary insanity, he told himself. A midlife crisis he could correct before causing permanent damage. Vivian shifted in her sleep, turning toward him. For a moment he thought she might wake, but she simply settled closer. Elliot gently placed his hand on her stomach, feeling their daughter move beneath his palm. A fierce wave of protectiveness washed over him. "I'll fix this," he whispered, though whether to Vivian, their unborn child, or himself, he wasn't sure. Morning came too quickly. Elliot woke to an empty bed and the smell of coffee. Following the aroma downstairs, he found Vivian in the kitchen, dressed in a simple maternity dress, hair pulled back, reading something on her tablet. "Morning," he said cautiously. testing the waters. She looked up, her expression unreadable. "Good morning. Coffee's fresh." As he poured a cup, Elliot searched for signs that she suspected something, but Vivian seemed calm, focused on whatever she was reading. "How did you sleep?" he asked, sitting across from her. "Fine," she said, setting down her tablet. "How was your late night at the office?" Was there an emphasis on office, or was he just paranoid? "Productive," he answered carefully. "We're finally making headway on the Thompson account." She nodded, taking a sip of her tea. "That's good." The conversation felt strained, but not necessarily more than other mornings lately. They'd been drifting apart for months, even before Celeste. The pregnancy had been difficult at first, with Vivian suffering severe morning sickness. By the time she'd begun to feel better, the emotional distance had already grown. "I have that doctor's appointment today," she said. "But you probably won't be able to make it." Guilt surged through him. He'd completely forgotten. "What time?" 11. "But don't worry about it. I know you're busy." "No, I'll be there," he insisted. "I'll clear my schedule." A flicker of surprise crossed her face. "All right. If you're sure." "Of course I'm sure. It's our daughter." He reached across the table for her hand, but she stood up before he could touch her. "I should get ready then. I have a few errands to run first." As she left the kitchen, Elliot couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had shifted between them. Maybe attending the appointment would help bridge the gap. Maybe it wasn't too late to salvage what they had. His phone buzzed with a text from Celeste. "Miss you already." "Lunch today?" He stared at the message, then slowly typed, "Can't today. Meeting." He deleted the period, replaced it with a heart emoji, then deleted that too. Finally settling on just the period, he sent the message and silenced his phone. Vivian sat in her car outside the medical building, waiting for Elliot. The doctor's appointment started in 15 minutes, and he hadn't arrived yet. She checked her phone. No messages. She thought about the morning's activities, the locksmith changing all the exterior locks, the consultation with her attorney, Diana, who had helped expedite the restraining order. The screenshots from Alyssa had been damning enough, but what Diana had uncovered about Elliot's recent financial movements suggested he'd been planning something too. Separate accounts. Money transfers. Her phone rang. Elliot's name on the screen. "Hey." "I'm so sorry," he began, his voice rushed. "Emergency at the office. Simmons is threatening to pull out of the deal unless we adjust the terms." The lie slid so easily from him. She'd already called his secretary Marion, who'd mentioned Elliot had taken a long lunch outside the office. "It's fine," Vivian said flatly. "I'll make it up to you. I promise." "How about dinner tonight? Your favorite place?" "Sure," she agreed, knowing she wouldn't be there. "The Willow at 7? A slight hesitation. "Perfect. Love you." She ended the call without returning the sentiment. Inside the doctor's office, Dr. Patel greeted her warmly. "No Elliot today?" "Work emergency," Vivian explained, settling onto the examination table. Dr. Patel nodded sympathetically. "Well, let's see how little Miss is doing, shall we?" The ultrasound revealed a healthy baby girl, active and growing perfectly. Hearing the strong heartbeat, Vivian felt tears spring to her eyes, partly joy, partly grief for the family life that would never be. "Everything looks perfect," Dr. Patel assured her. "Any questions or concerns?" Vivian hesitated. Is stress dangerous for the baby at this stage?" Dr. Patel's expression softened. "Some stress is unavoidable, but significant ongoing stress isn't ideal." "Is everything all right at home?" "It will be," Vivian said with newfound resolve. After the appointment, she drove to Blackwood Partners. She needed to see it with her own eyes, needed absolute certainty before proceeding. Sitting in her car across from the sleek office building, she didn't have to wait long. At 1:15, Elliot emerged with the woman from Alyssa's photos. Tall, brunette, confident. They walked closely, not touching but clearly intimate in their body language. They crossed the street to an upscale bistro, disappearing inside. Vivian had seen enough. She made one final call. "Detective Santos? This is Vivian Blackwood. I'd like to arrange for that police escort we discussed." After the police left his office, Elliot collapsed into his chair, restraining order clutched in his hand. His secretary Marion appeared in the doorway, concern etched on her face. "Mr. Blackwood? Is everything all right?" He gestured helplessly. "Cancel my meetings for the rest of the day." Alone again, he tried calling Vivian. The call went straight to voicemail. He tried again and again, each attempt more desperate than the last. Finally, he called Alyssa. "You have some nerve," she answered coldly. "Alyssa, please. I need to talk to Vivian. She's not answering." "Of course she's not. She doesn't want to talk to you." "There's been a misunderstanding." "Cut the bullshit, Elliot," Alyssa snapped. "I saw you at the Willow last night with your girlfriend. I took pictures." The realization hit him like a physical blow. "You told her." "Damn right I did. She's my sister, and she's pregnant with your child while you're out playing Romeo. It's not what you think. It never is with men like you. Leave her alone, Elliot. She has the support she needs." After Alyssa hung up, Elliot sat immobile, trying to process how quickly his life had unraveled. His phone buzzed with a text from Celeste. "Just heard what happened. Your wife had me escorted out of the building by security. Called me your mistress in front of everyone." "What the hell, Elliot?" Another text arrived while he was still staring at the first. "This is beyond humiliating. Call me now." Instead, he scrolled through his contacts and called his friend and attorney, Julian Moss. "I need help," he said when Julian answered. "Vivian's filed a restraining order against me. I can't go home. I can't contact her." "Slow down," Julian replied. "What happened?" "She found out about—" Elliot couldn't bring himself to say it. "An affair?" Julian filled in the blank. "Jesus, Elliot, I know. I screwed up. But a restraining order? She knows I'd never hurt her." "Emotional harm counts too," Julian said bluntly. "When's the hearing?" 3 days. All right. Get a hotel for now. Don't contact Vivian, don't go near the house, and for God's sake, stop seeing the other woman immediately. I'll review the order and see what we're working with. What about my things? My clothes, You get a supervised visit to collect essentials. Nothing more until the hearing." Julian's tone softened slightly. "Elliot, man to man, did you do anything that would justify her fearing for her safety?" "Anything at all?" "Of course not. I've never raised my voice to Vivian, let alone my hand." "Good. That helps. But the affair, that complicates things, especially with her being pregnant." After ending the call, Elliot sat in his office as the afternoon light faded, replaying every moment that had led him here. The first time he'd met Celeste at the firm's holiday party, the innocent flirtation that had evolved into coffee meetings, then drinks, then more. The lies he'd told Vivian, about work, about his whereabouts, about his feelings. His phone buzzed incessantly with calls and texts from Celeste, but he ignored them all. Instead, he opened his photo gallery, scrolling to pictures of him and Vivian, their wedding day, their honeymoon in Greece, the day they'd closed on their house, the tearful joy when they'd learned about the pregnancy after a year of trying. In every photo, Vivian looked at him with complete trust and love. A trust he'd betrayed, a love he'd taken for granted. The restraining order on his desk made one thing painfully clear. Vivian wasn't just hurt, she was done with him. The following morning, Elliot stood on the sidewalk outside what had been his home, watching a police cruiser pull up. Detective Santos emerged, followed by Officer Chen. "Mr. Blackwood," Detective Santos acknowledged. "You understand the terms? You have 30 minutes to collect essential items only." Elliot nodded, heart pounding as she unlocked the door with a key Vivian must have provided. He half expected, hoped, to see his wife inside, but the house was silent. "Where is she?" he asked. "Not your concern right now," Detective Santos replied. "Clock's ticking." Upstairs, he filled a suitcase with clothes and toiletries, moving mechanically. In the bathroom, Vivian's makeup and prenatal vitamins remained neatly arranged. He touched the vitamins briefly, thinking of their daughter. In the bedroom, a framed sonogram photo caught his eye. He reached for it, but Officer Chen cleared his throat. "Personal items only, sir." Elliot withdrew his hand. That is personal. It's my daughter. Detective Santos, watching from the doorway, softened slightly. You can take that. As he carefully wrapped the frame in a t-shirt, he noticed something on the dresser, Vivian's wedding ring, placed deliberately beside a folded piece of paper with his name on it. He reached for the note. Mr. Blackwood, Detective Santos warned. Please, he said, his voice breaking. Just let me read it. She hesitated, then nodded once. With trembling fingers, he unfolded the paper. Elliot, I know about Celeste. I know about the separate account you opened last month. I know about the apartment you looked at. Yes, the real estate agent is my client. I trusted you with everything. My heart, my future, our child. While I carried our daughter, you carried on with another woman. In our special places, making promises with the same mouth that lied to me daily. I won't be the woman who stands by her cheating husband, making excuses, swallowing her dignity. Our daughter deserves to see her mother value herself too highly for that. By the time you read this, I'll have filed for divorce. Don't fight me on this. Don't make it uglier than it already is. Vivian Elliott sank onto the edge of the bed, the note crumpling in his fist. Time's up, Detective Santos said quietly. Numbly, he followed them downstairs. At the door, he turned back, taking in the home they'd built together one last time. I don't suppose you'd tell me where she's staying, he asked Detective Santos. She shook her head. Not my place to say, even if I knew. Outside, he placed his suitcase in his car trunk, then paused. Detective, when you see her, could you tell her I'm sorry? That I'll respect her wishes? I'll pass along any message she's willing to hear, Santos replied neutrally. As they drove away, Elliot sat in his car, staring at their house, no longer his home. His phone rang. Celeste. After 12 ignored calls, he finally answered. Elliot, what the hell is happening? I've been trying to reach you for... It's over, Celeste. A pause. What do you mean, over? All of it. Us, my marriage, everything. Because your wife found out? That's actually perfect timing. Now we don't have to hide anymore. You can move in with... No, he cut her off. You don't understand. I made a terrible mistake. I betrayed someone who loved me completely, who's carrying my child. So that's it? After everything you promised me? After I gave up a job offer in Boston to stay here with you. I'm sorry, he said, meaning it, though he knew it was inadequate. I should never have made those promises. You're pathetic, Celeste spat. Running back to your wife who clearly doesn't want you anymore. Good luck with that, she hung up. Elliot sat for a long time, staring at the house, then finally drove away. 2 days later, Julian called with an update. I've spoken with Vivian's attorney, Diana Keating. They're playing hardball. What does that mean? It means Vivian's asking for full custody, the house, and significant support. Elliot rubbed his temples. And I think you should consider yourself lucky that's all she wants. Diana has evidence, texts, hotel receipts, witness statements. If this gets messy, your personal life becomes very public. Your business reputation... I don't care about my reputation, Elliot interrupted. I care about my wife and daughter. Ex-wife soon enough, Julian corrected. And I have to ask, what about the other woman? Is that truly over? Yes, completely. Good. Then my advice is to be reasonable. Offer generous terms. Show contrition. The restraining order hearing is tomorrow. If you agree to Vivian's divorce terms, she might drop it. After ending the call, Elliot wandered his hotel suite, feeling the walls closing in. On impulse, he grabbed his keys and drove to Alyssa's apartment complex. He knew Vivian was likely staying there. He sat in his car, staring up at the windows, imagining Vivian inside, preparing for the baby without him. Would she let him attend the birth? Would he be relegated to scheduled visitations with his own daughter? His phone chimed with a text from a number he didn't recognize. If you're planning to violate the restraining order by sitting outside Alyssa's apartment, I should inform you that my client has already notified Detective Santos of your presence. I suggest you leave immediately. Diana Keating startled. Elliot looked around. half expecting to see police cruisers approaching. Instead, he glimpsed movement at a second-floor window, Vivian watching him. Their eyes met briefly before she stepped back from view. The text was a bluff, he realized. Vivian hadn't called the police. She'd given him a warning through her attorney instead. It was more consideration than he deserved. With a last look at the window where she'd stood, he started his car and drove away. The courtroom was smaller than Elliot expected. He sat beside Julian, trying not to stare at Vivian, seated across the aisle with Diana. She wore a simple navy dress, her pregnancy prominently visible. She didn't look in his direction. Judge Martinez reviewed the restraining order application. Mrs. Blackwood, you're seeking protection based on claims of emotional abuse stemming from your husband's infidelity. Is that correct? Diana stood. Yes, Your Honor. Along with concerning financial maneuvers suggesting Mr. Blackwood was planning to leave my client without resources while she's in a vulnerable state. That's not true, Elliot whispered to Julian, who silenced him with a look. Mr. Blackwood, the judge continued, you contest these claims. Julian rose. Your Honor, my client acknowledges the extramarital relationship but categorically denies any intention to abandon his financial responsibilities to his wife and child. In fact, he's prepared to agree to Mrs. Blackwood's divorce terms, provided the restraining order is dropped. Judge Martinez looked between them. Mrs. Blackwood, is this arrangement acceptable to you? Vivian leaned toward Diana, whispering something. Diana nodded and addressed the court. My client agrees with one condition. She requests a one-time opportunity to speak with Mr. Blackwood, with counsel present, before finalizing the divorce terms. The judge considered this. Granted. You may use conference room B. We'll reconvene in 30 minutes. In the small conference room, Elliot sat across from Vivian, their attorneys flanking them. Seeing her up close for the first time since everything had fallen apart, he was struck by how composed she appeared. Tired, perhaps, but resolute. We can wait outside, Diana suggested. Give you some privacy. No, Vivian said firmly. Stay. Once the attorneys had settled into chairs by the door, Vivian finally met Elliot's eyes directly. I wanted to see you face to face one last time. Vivian, I'm so sorry. She held up her hand. I didn't ask for this meeting to hear apologies. I wanted to ask you one question, and I need an honest answer. Elliot nodded, his throat tight. Was any of it real? Us, the baby, the life we planned? The question hit him like a physical blow. All of it was real. I loved you, I still love you, then why? He'd asked himself the same question countless times since the police had appeared in his office. I don't know, he admitted. Some pathetic midlife crisis. Fear of fatherhood. None of it justifies what I did. Vivian studied him, as if searching for something in his expression. I thought we were happy. We were, I was. Until I wasn't, and instead of talking to you, I took the coward's way. She placed her hands protectively over her stomach. I want you to know something. I'm not doing this out of vengeance. I'm doing it because I refuse to model for our daughter what it looks like to accept betrayal. Elliot nodded, tears welling. I understand. The financial terms are fair. You'll have visitation rights once she's born. Supervised at first, then we'll reassess. Thank you, he said, meaning it. Whatever you decide, I'll accept it. She gathered herself, preparing to leave. One more thing. I know about the promotion you were offered in London. Surprise registered on his face. He'd told no one about that offer. Not even Celeste. Marion called me, Vivian explained. She thought I should know you were considering relocating us. I was going to discuss it with you after the baby. Don't, she interrupted. Just don't. We both know you were creating an exit strategy. The separate account, the apartment viewings. The apartment was for my mother, he protested. She's selling her house, wanted to downsize. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Vivian's face. What? I opened the separate account for her proceeds. She didn't want to deal with the real estate transactions, so I was handling it. Diana leaned forward. Mr. Blackwood, we have records of you transferring significant sums into that account. An advance on her house sale, he explained. She needed money for a deposit. Vivian exchanged looks with Diana. What about London? She asked. I turned it down, Elliot said quietly. I didn't want to uproot you during the pregnancy. That's why I was working so many late nights, trying to prove my value here instead. A complex emotion crossed. Vivian's face, doubt mingled with something else. None of this excuses the affair, he continued. But I need you to know I never planned to abandon you or our daughter. That was never part of this mess I created. Vivian stood abruptly. I think we're done here. Outside the conference room, she turned to Diana. I need to think. Tell the judge we'll reconvene tomorrow. Elliot couldn't sleep that night. His hotel room felt sterile and empty, a fitting metaphor for what his life had become. Shortly after midnight, his phone lit up with a text from Vivian. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. The Willow. No explanation, no context. He responded immediately. I'll be there. The Willow was quiet in the mid-afternoon lull. Elliot arrived early, securing the corner table where he'd proposed years ago. When Vivian entered, several heads turned, her pregnancy now unmistakable. She spotted him and walked over, settling carefully into the chair opposite him. Thank you for coming, he began. I verified your story, she said, cutting to the chase. Your mother confirmed everything about the apartment and the account. He nodded, unsurprised. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Vivian. What I did is unforgivable. I agree. Her directness was painful but deserved. But I've been thinking about what you said yesterday. About loving me, about our daughter. Hope fluttered dangerously in his chest. Yes? I spoke with my therapist. She suggested I consider all angles before finalizing my decisions. Elliot waited, afraid to push. Vivian took a deep breath. I need to know, completely and honestly, if there's any chance you'd cheat again. No, he said firmly. Never. I've already ended things with Celeste, completely. That's not what I'm asking. Anyone can end a relationship when caught. I'm asking about the future, another rough patch, another temptation. He considered her question carefully. I can promise you I've learned my lesson. These past days have been the worst of my life. Losing you, potentially missing moments with our daughter, it's shown me exactly what matters. She didn't look convinced. Pretty words, Elliot. But actions matter more, I know. That's why... He pulled out his phone, showing her an email confirmation. I've started therapy. Twice weekly sessions with Dr. Reed. I'm trying to understand why I made these choices, how to be a better man. Surprise registered on her face. I'm not asking to come home, he continued. I'm not even asking you to reconsider the divorce. I just want the chance to prove, through actions, not words, that I can be the father our daughter deserves. Vivian was silent for a long moment. I spoke with Celeste yesterday. His stomach dropped. You what? She came to see me. Brought screenshots, hotel receipts, evidence she thought would hurt me. A small, sad smile. She didn't realize I already had most of it. I'm sorry, let me finish. She told me everything, Elliot. Every promise you made her, every lie you told me. Vivian leaned forward. But she also told me something interesting. She said you never once spoke ill of me, that even while betraying me, you respected me. That when she pushed you to leave me, you always had an excuse for why you couldn't. Elliot remained silent, ashamed yet relieved that at least this much was true. I've spent 3 days hating you, Vivian continued, hating what you did to us, to me, to our unborn daughter. She placed a hand on her stomach. But hatred isn't what I want to carry into motherhood. What are you saying? He asked cautiously. I'm saying the restraining order hearing is this afternoon. I'm dropping it. The divorce? That's more complicated, Hope surged, but he tamped it down. I understand. No, you don't, she said. I'm not ready to forgive you. I'm not sure I ever will be completely, but I'm willing to try counseling for the baby's sake. Marriage counseling? He clarified, hardly daring to believe it. Yes, Dr. Wallace has an opening next Tuesday. Relief flooded through him. I'll be there. Whatever you need, however long it takes. Don't make promises you can't keep, she warned. This isn't a clean slate. It's a single chance, Elliot. One slip, one text, one call, one innocent coffee, and I'm gone. With our daughter, forever. I understand. Completely. Vivian stood, gathering her purse. I'm staying with Alyssa for now. The spare room at home is made up if you want to move back. Separate sleeping arrangements until we see where this goes. He nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. At the door, she paused. Oh, and Elliot? I changed the locks back. Your key is under the mat. A hint of her old warmth flickered in her eyes. Don't make me regret it. 6 months later, the nursery was bathed in soft morning light as Elliot gently placed 3-month-old Sophia in her crib. She'd fallen asleep during her dawn feeding. Tiny fingers curled around his thumb until the last moment. Behind him, Vivian leaned against the doorframe, watching. She always fights sleep for you, she observed quietly. She's stubborn. Like her mother, a small smile. And charming when she wants something. Like her father, it wasn't perfect. They still had separate bedrooms. Trust rebuilt slowly, in tiny increments. A returned text, a genuine laugh, a moment of vulnerability in therapy. But there were good signs, too. Last week, Vivian had taken his hand during a particularly difficult session. Yesterday, she'd asked his opinion on a work decision. Small steps, but in the right direction. As they tiptoed from the nursery, Elliot's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out automatically, then showed the screen to Vivian, a text from his mother about Sunday dinner. The gesture wasn't lost on her. 6 months of transparent communication, of proving himself trustworthy in small ways. In the kitchen, he started coffee while Vivian prepared breakfast. The routine felt almost normal. Marion called yesterday, Vivian mentioned casually. Said the London office is searching for a new director again. Elliot tensed. Was this a test? I'm not interested. I know. She cracked eggs into a bowl. But I was thinking, maybe we should consider it. He turned to her, surprised. You want to move to London? I've been offered a position at the London Symphony. Principal cellist. Her eyes held a spark he hadn't seen in too long. It would mean starting fresh. New city, new opportunities. For both of us, he said carefully. Yes. Vivian set down the whisk, meeting his gaze directly. I'm not saying we're fixed, Elliot. We have a long way to go, but Sophia deserves parents who aren't defined by past mistakes. He approached slowly, giving her space to retreat if she wanted. When she didn't, he took her hands in his. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, I'm with you. No more separate paths. She didn't pull away. Progress. We could visit next month, she suggested. See if it feels right, and if it doesn't, Vivian looked toward the nursery where their daughter slept. Then we figure out what does. Together. He nodded, understanding the gift she was offering. Not forgiveness exactly, but possibility. A chance to rewrite their story, not erasing the painful chapters, but adding new ones. Outside, rain began to fall, a gentle patter against the windows. Inside, in the warm kitchen with the scent of coffee brewing, 2 people who had hurt each other deeply continued the delicate work of finding their way back, not to what had been, but to what could be. For the first time in months, it felt like enough.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.